So
you've got to become a different person to parent these fucking kids, like, at every stage.
I hear no lies told, okay? None.
No lies told.
None. Okay.
And welcome back to another incredible episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. Today, we have actually a second time podcast guest. This is Kymberly Spears. She's one of our beautiful co-authors in the Anatomy of Abundance book, but she's also a dear friend, and we're in the financial business together, the financial industry.
Absolutely.
So Kim actually has over 14 years of financial services experience as a financial professional in a lot of different realms, which we'll hear about in a moment. But she also is really, I think you've had such tremendous transformation since becoming a mom in a blended family. So we'll talk about that. That's a big part of her story.
For sure.
And then also I want to hear a little bit about you writing for the first time.
Awesome.
But anyways, welcome my love. Welcome my love. So listen, I'm like, I know her very well, but share with our audience just a little bit about who you are outside of what you do.
All right.
Yeah, who you are at your core.
So I am a child of God first and foremost, okay? And I am a wife. Mm-hmm. I am a mother.
Those are roles, by the way.
Those
I want to know who you are.
Okay. I am a loyal friend.
Yes, you are.
But I'm really big on just loyalty. I am a humble person. I am a nurturing person. Mm-hmm. I am a competitive, love a good challenge woman. I am a child of God. Most importantly, that's really where I'm resonating from, and it's just been an awesome journey since the last time we got to sit down.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have you pull that a little closer, just in case, to make sure everyone can hear you.
Alrighty.
I would venture to say, yes, you are a very loyal person. You are a light, honey.
Yeah.
You are a powerhouse. You're very committed. And I think that your heart for service as well is something that's always stood out for me.
Oh.
And when it comes to commitment and service, that then brings me to this blended family.
Oh, yes.
Yes, let's talk a little bit about that.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
That's a gift, right? It is a gift.
Yeah.
And I have personally witnessed you bring so much light and joy and what's the word? Like you're almost like the glue that holds it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about this journey from being a young woman in the financial business, making money, a powerhouse in your own light, to then falling in love and finding yourself in this blended family.
Yeah, absolutely. So me and my husband have been together now since 2017. Mm. We'll hit 5 years this year in November. Very excited.
Great month, by the way.
Yes, it is. We will be celebrating all month.
Yeah.
But when we met and we first started dating, I didn't right away know that he was single father full time. Mm-hmm. And when I discovered that, and as we got to know each other again, I was intrigued. I was curious just mm-hmm. because he wore it so well. And you can hear people talk about what it's like to be a single parent, and especially being a dad, and think that, he's going to carry a certain weight about him. And he did, but he didn't wear it on the outside. He was such this positive energy. Uh-huh. So kind of when we met, it was refreshing. And the children were a part of that. And as we decided to be committed to each other, I went into it with positive expectation. Mm-hmm. I don't have any step siblings. I have half siblings that I never refer to as my half siblings.
Okay.
So the mindset of seeing someone co-parent, I had seen it done. I'd seen some of the challenges, but I'd seen a lot of the blessings of it. So I really just went into it like committed and open and not wanting to force anything. And there were definitely some learning curves and things like that. But I think one of the biggest takeaways is just going from your perspective of what family means mm-hmm. and how the dynamics are supposed to work, what you want it to look like, and then what it actually is.
Yeah.
And where you can always work to make something different than maybe what it starts as. You also want to be very grounded that, you know what, everyone has different experiences, different perspectives. Be open to things changing, be open to your own perspective changing. And I pretty much rolled with that.
Yeah.
And now that our kids are a little bit older, minus the two that we have at home, it's really even another level of it because now we're parenting adults.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. I understand this evolution quite well.
You know. So
you've got to become a different person to parent these fucking kids at every stage.
I hear no lies told, okay? None.
No lies told.
None, okay? So then from like a parenting perspective, it's like, you know, you work so hard to blend the family at that phase.
Yes.
And then everyone goes through this major transition.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now we've got to co-parent a little bit differently now. Because speaking to your adult children, you know, I tend to give them a little bit more of the unfiltered opinions that I have and things that I might even do differently. And I say, do as I say, not as I do. And this is why I'm telling you. But like you said, that commitment to doing what's best for the children, for our family, that's always got to be the root of it. It's always got to come back to that. What is the best thing for our family unit?
My head is spinning.
Right?
So I have a question for you. So my first question is, did you want to get married? Was this something you desired? Because you have always come across to me, I don't even know if I knew you before Carl, but I feel like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you before Carl. And I feel like you just always had your own identity. You were such a go-getter. You're like, you know, you just had like this success. You had created your path.
Absolutely. That's a great question because I think about this often. Like, how did I end up here in general? And I think I always wanted to get married, but I wasn't thinking about marriage in the slightest of senses. And part of it was, you know, that I had a little bit of perception that like once you get married, like then all the like growing and thriving and all those things are going to slow down. But more importantly, I was satisfied with myself. Like I was truly like doing everything that I enjoyed. I went where I wanted to be. If I was dating, I was able to date freely and be open. And marriage just kind of made sense. Like when I ran into Carl, it really was like a message from God that said, oh, here's your husband.
I like
That's it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I had already experienced and done so many things. So you were absolutely right. I was living my best life.
You were living
independent.
your best life. Well, and I asked that because I know that so many young women are looking to someone else to complete them. Makes me want to gag. But this is the truth, right?
Yeah.
We live in this society that tells us like you're not a woman unless you're married and you have kids and you have this. We have all these things that are put on us. And so it always impressed me that you didn't seem to be burdened by those things. And I was actually, I think, a little shocked when with the relationship and the marriage and the kids. And so I would love to just dive into this journey of marriage as well on a deeper level with your permission.
For sure.
In regard to your motherhood journey. And you can share what you wish to share with our audience, but I think there's some benefit for them to hear.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when me and my husband got married, he had 3 children, 15, 12, and 7. And actually, we're probably younger than that. It's probably more like 14, 11, and 7, around there. And I really kind of looked at it like, part of my mission work in general is to encourage all women, all young women. I think about being a young woman in business. I remember growing up in Moreno Valley, you know, not this major booming city, but a lot of people have heard of it. Yeah. But I didn't see a lot of women in business. I had this vision of what it looked like, but I wasn't interacting with anyone to know this is what it looks like. So when I married a man that had children, especially having daughters, I really kind of took it on like, here's my opportunity to be a true role model. You know, their mother is very active. It was just an opportunity to, you know, be my best self because now I have these set of eyes that are watching me. For myself, when it got to the point where we were ready to have children, it took a lot of work. I wasn't able to. I had experienced infertility, and what I'll say about that is there were probably signs in my younger age that I should have got certain things checked out. But I think we sometimes associate looking at our reproductive health a lot of ways with when I'm ready to have children.
Right.
And as long as everything in between is kind of okay, like I'm okay. And that's just not the case. So it was an experience to learn to advocate for myself and say, hey, like, you know, I did talk to you about this before and I maybe didn't press the issue to my doctor, But now I'm trying to accomplish something, and I realized that there's things that we could have been doing in the interim. But it was definitely a journey, and, you know, Carl held my hand all the way through it. And, you know, he always likes to say, like, we got the horse, just get back on the horse and you'll be fine. And that was kind of our approach.
Yes.
More recently, we actually experienced another loss.
No
and when we did our slaying stilettos, that was, I knew then.
So that was like
about 3 or 4 months ago.
No. I mean,
that was
losses.
3. Yeah,
that was three miscarriages.
That was in the last 2 years. So like total, it's funny when you talk to your doctor. It's not funny, but when you talk to the doctors, you know, sometimes they're bedside manners, and they ask you like, oh, how many pregnancies have you had, or how many live births, and they just roll through it like. Oh, let me not say anything, and I understand their discomfort, but like we've experienced loss quite a bit, and it's very interesting how God will use something so close to you to signify other areas of your life that He wants you to be a certain way. And I say that because, you know, when you've had infertility before, there's always this feeling when you do get pregnant of, is it going to be successful or is it going to be a failure?
Right.
And your brain goes back and forth which way to think, and you can try to be optimistic, but then you have those moments. It's like that in business too. When you're building anything, there's this phase of like, it worked, that's why I want to continue to do it. But then there was that one time that it didn't work, and which side am I leaning into? So this time around, when it came up, it was very much like, okay, all right, I see what's trying to happen. You know, I had some things that I was focused on. You're trying to distract me, or God, you're trying to test me, and I'm going to see it as such. And where this was probably the first time that I really gave myself permission to grieve. But it was also the first time that I grieved in a way that was like, I can keep doing things and I don't feel like I'm taken away from myself.
Interesting.
So it was just that idea of like, not that this has happened before and to downplay it or anything like that. I mean, I have 2 brothers who are also expecting. One any minute now, one next month. I wouldn't visit them in Washington. They had no idea. So I was carrying these things. But it's like God has blessed me with so much and knows that I had a successful pregnancy. I have a beautiful daughter.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
I've got the beautiful daughter.
Baby.
So if it was in the works for me to just have one child by birth, thank you, Lord. And if it's meant for me to have more, then, you know, we're committed to the journey for 2 more years. After that,
she said we got a timeline now. Well, one of the things that's always impressed me so much about you is that you have experienced, yes, a tremendous amount of loss, not just the miscarriages, but other losses in such a short period of time. And very similar to me, you don't wear yours on your sleeve.
Oh.
No one would ever know if you didn't tell them. Like, you show up, you're still compassionate, you're still heart-centered, you're still focused, you do what needs to be done.
Thank you.
And so I think my question there would be, what are the maybe rituals, practices, like how do you keep this light lit, and how do you show up so powerfully and so clearly on a daily basis, no matter what's going on?
Absolutely. One, thank you. Thank you. And I have to say, like, at this phase, it is my support system also, because I think in being in community with Anatomy of Abundance and just the women that we interact with, like, you really opened me up when I went on that retreat to the beauty of sisterhood and knowing that you're not alone. So that was a pivotal point, because I had to give myself grace to recognize that we're all going through different things. So God is a big piece of what keeps my light, is that, you know, I know He's got purpose and a plan for me. So I can't sit in what's wrong for very long. It's just never been my nature. Some of the habits that I do, I mean, I played basketball in college.
Yes.
So I very much am always going to be attached to my
athlete mindset. That says a lot.
So if it's just like, you know, getting in the mirror and doing leg lifts for like 10 seconds on the way to go get the laundry, like those little things are reminders that, oh, I can still tell my body what to do, which means like my mind is actually telling my body what to do, which means I can still be coachable, which means I can learn something new. I'm an avid reader, researcher. I love pre-chat GPT. You know, Pinterest is one of my best friends too. I love Pinterest. But just whatever it takes to look up and get new information about, you know, what I'm going through or other people if they've gone through, it helps. And it's definitely a habit that I do. One other thing would be probably taking time by myself. I think just being okay with being by myself. You know, there's a story of Job, like you could lose everything and would you still be okay with yourself? Could you start over? And I take a moment to think about that and to think about the things that I didn't have at one point, or like more recently, like Lord just renewed my mind. I mean, Patrina, I remember vividly, I've never been one to like talk about people. I've never been one to like point fingers or criticize. Like I'm probably that, I almost thought I couldn't have girlfriends because I didn't like to gossip. I'm like, oh, they're not going to be able to, I don't want to talk about anybody.
No, I can't either.
But I remember maybe in February, I looked at him, I said, I ain't had no negative thoughts in like a little while. And I just had a moment of just complete praise. I'm like, Lord, you have just calmed my mind and given me peace through consistently going back to the drawing board, doing it again. Or not going to the drawing board and just trying again. Just try again. So I think those habits of giving myself grace, being willing to do the things that I know bring me peace or bring me back, like the working out. And then just knowing that there's so much time, not even time, so much experience ahead of me,
of course,
that I don't have to feel like I'm missing out.
You're still very young too.
I'll take it. The grace, I'll take it.
So you use the phrase "shifting gears" a lot.
Yes,
and it's even one of your IG handles, right?
Absolutely.
Shifting gears.
Yeah.
So what does shifting gears mean to you?
So shifting gears means being able to stop and turn. Stop and move. You know, pivot is another word that I use often, and it's because when you're trying to get somewhere, sometimes life requires you to shift gears. Sometimes you're supposed to be going fast. There we go. All the time. It's like you're stopping and you're starting, and depending on like your perception, you might be moving slower at a certain season as like a negative, when like it was destined to where you were supposed to be. You were supposed to slow down. So just that shifting gears is being able to point people in the direction to continue on the path that they're headed. Because most people have started, but if you pulled off the road, that doesn't mean that you need to reroute your whole trip. No, pause for a second. How do we get you back on the road? How do we get you back into the fast lane if that's where you want to be? How do we determine that I'm about to veer off the road? Maybe I do need to reroute.
Yes. And this is actually a perfect segue into your financial business.
Oh, yes.
I would love to know a little bit of the story briefly of how you got into finance, because you were in finance before we even met.
Yeah.
And then also how this idea of shifting gears plays into your work with clients.
Absolutely. So when I graduated from college, after I got my degree, graduated with some student debt. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I moved out to Orange County because I heard it was one of the wealthiest counties in the country. And, I was like, I'm going to be the token black girl. I'm going to go out there and figure it out. And they're going to wonder, what are you doing here? And I'm going to tell you what I'm doing here once I figure it out. So I remember going to this job fair, and there's probably like 100 people, like 80% white male, some diversity, a smidget in there. And I definitely was the only young black woman at that. And I inadvertently got introduced to the insurance industry. The job I went for, I didn't end up getting it, but they have your resume. So it was just this oasis of information that I didn't know I was about to walk into. So when I just kind of learned how insurance works, what I found is my degree's in English. How did I end up in insurance and eventually in finance? Okay.
Right.
How did that happen? And what I like to think of it is that, when I studied English, it's because I love words. I love speaking. I love breaking things down. And a lot of times with insurance, people have this idea that it's a complex subject or it's meant for a certain caliber of person. So what I find is I'm often taking like things that people describe all the time, their desires for their families, the things they want to see for their kids, and I'm giving it a technical term.
Yeah.
Like, you've been describing this, now here's a technical term to it. So I'm really not introducing you to anything new.
Smart.
I'm just marrying the industries together.
Yeah.
And I think that it's often received very well because I'm not trying to talk above anyone's head. And me, myself, again, English major. Okay. I didn't want to go into finance or anything that had to do with math, but I love money.
Boom.
We all got to work, and we got to work for something. We got to pay our bills some kind of way. So being able to take something that we use on a daily basis or throughout all of the different things that we want to accomplish, and just making it simple. And I think that the finance, that is the industry that I'm in, but really I'm in personal development.
Yeah. Of course.
Because you do a phenomenal job, firsthand. I mean, we've talked and I've learned a lot from you about just your mindset about money. And a lot of times when we're having conversations with people, it's like, let me get to what your mindset is about money. So I'm not just trying to force something on you, which may or may not stick. But if I can make a connection for my clients, then these are habits that are likely to stick. These are relationships that are likely to stick. And, we just are able to shift gears together when we approach it that way.
Yes. And the insurance period, just very at its core, what it is, protection,
absolutely,
right, is a part of creating and protecting legacy.
Absolutely.
So what does legacy mean to you?
So that the legacy is what's left behind and the things that people want to pick up, because not everything that's left behind in legacy wise do you want to actually take on.
True.
So for me, it's about leaving things that I believe will be attractive for my children, their children, my siblings' children.
Yeah.
Leaving things behind that they can own. Legacy, a lot of times, is, not everyone looks at how many things does my family own, or do I own myself? I might have it temporarily, but renting and owning, at some point, some people are like, I'm going to have to give it back.
Right.
So I am just striving to have as many things that I can keep that I can pass on. That's legacy for me.
So speaking of pass on, as we're starting to wrap up our time together, I want to ask you, what would you tell your younger self right now? Like, knowing what you know now.
Ask.
Huh.
I would say to ask for exactly what it is that you want. And I think I've always worked on getting closer to knowing what it is that I want. But along the way, there are certain times where I may not have asked, even though I knew. And you'd be surprised, or I don't want people to be surprised at the number of people that are willing to help you.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's
a big one for women.
We take on so much, and like, we want it to be this way. It has to be done perfectly, or we can't do it perfectly ourselves, so it can't get done. No, ask, delegate, leverage. I would tell myself to do that a lot earlier.
Words.
That's why we just
shocking. So has that been, would you say, one of your greatest lessons?
Yeah, for sure.
Up until this point,
for sure, because I think I'm almost 6 foot. I command the room when I come in, and I've had opportunities that have come across my lap, and I wasn't confident enough or bold enough in those moments to ask for it. So I might have missed out on some things, but that was God's plan. So in my life now, no matter who it is that I have to ask, I push myself, go ask. Go say what the issue is, concern, desire, and ask. And then, another big word for me is resourcefulness. I'm huge. I think most people are so limited in their thinking because they don't have a mindset of abundance.
Right.
They don't think they have enough resources.
True.
So if you ask, you might find out the resources you need were like next. I'll never forget this. So I moved to Orange County. My car broke down. I was like, okay, I got this. I'm going to just order a rental car for a couple of months. So I paid for a rental car for like 2 months. And then I was talking to my mom, and she says, I mentioned to Greg that you were driving a rental car, and he said he has this Audi sitting outside, his A8 sitting outside, and he's not using it. Nice. I'm like, what? What do you mean you've got an Audi just sitting outside? And at that time for me, it was like, oh, it's a luxury car. You just got to sit in there? Like, what's going on in your life?
Yeah. And
he was like, yeah, you should have told me. You should have just asked me if I had anything that I could help you with, whether it was the money or the car. So I'm very grateful to have had that experience, because it now just resonates in all of the reason why I do not hesitate to ask.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. And I'm in the season of Audacity.
Yes.
And Audacity was never my word. I was always big on bodacious, but not audacious.
Yeah.
Like, I resonated more with bodacious.
Yeah.
But in this season of my life, I am very much resonant with Audacity, because I used to think, well, who am I to think I can fill in the blank? Now I'm like, who am I to not ask?
Exactly.
Who am I not to walk in like I own shit?
Yes, exactly. Period. No question. That's
who
it.
am I not to claim my queendom?
And that is so appropriate.
It's a disservice.
Yeah, yeah. When we talked about that and that word being the word for you this year, I think that is so. It is so fitting.
Yes.
Because again, and we're both tall women, there are certain things that you're just going to recognize in our beauty. You're just going to see it. And correct me if I'm wrong, when I think of bodacious, there is this piece of it that has a physical a physicality to it, and the audaciousness within that word. You've always embodied it.
That part.
And carried it.
I think bodacious was showing up and commanding. Like it was a little more coming from a masculine place. Whereas audacious feels like it's just like you said, like an embodiment. It's like, I'm here, bitches. Putting you on notice.
Yeah, I love it.
And so much has shifted this year.
Yeah.
Just from that little teeny tweak.
See, you guys take note to what she's saying, because she's holding space for other women and able to embody that. Yeah. Like, that is beautiful. It's so attractive. It's something that I just love about you. And I think that even in my own looking at like what is humble versus audacious and how to work both of them.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a problem with you showing up bodacious, audacious, any of those things, any of the sensational, anything like that.
Yes.
They'll be gone in a season if it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
So I just really appreciate
not an energetic match.
Yeah.
Not an energetic match.
And that's okay. And I think that's another piece. You know, I used to have this thing about FOMO, like really missing out. So
I think it's a Capricorn thing.
Oh, no, that's Carl. I'm the Leo.
Oh, that's right.
Leos, we like control. We got that piece that wants to be in control, or like if I'm going to do something. So like we talked about with the book, I was fresh off of having Jeannie. I wasn't going to be able to come to all the meet and greets and everything. So like I still said yes. And I was so proud of myself because I wasn't worried about the fear of missing out. I wanted to do what was going to feel good for me, which was writing the book, being a part of it. But the things that I couldn't do, you know, I didn't commit myself to it, and I was okay with that. So it's been a wonderful journey these last couple of years.
I'm so proud of you. I've watched you just flourish.
You have. You've
and
seen.
Blossom. And it's exciting to see where you are now, but it's even more exciting to know that I'm going to be around to see your becoming.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to come. Just with the growth of our agency, just the communities that we're serving. I think that just with the climate of our economy and just all the uncertainty, people are wanting professional help in so many different realms. Ours and mine happens to be financial at this point of life. Yeah, and it's a ministry. It's really being able to help people do whatever they need to do to hold on to their own peace.
100%.
And that makes me feel like a woman of service.
You are. You absolutely are. So I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Again,
I love
it's almost like a recap, right?
Absolutely.
A recap episode. Where is she now?
Yes.
So as we wrap up here, we're going to be putting all of your information in the show notes. So definitely if you resonated with some of the things that Kymberly said, or if you yourself are looking to get a little bit more direction financially, reach out to her.
Absolutely.
And with that said, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here with us once again on Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. I know you heard something that inspired you today. Go out there and tackle the world in a way that makes it like you absolutely own it and you deserve it, because you do. You deserve not to play small and to get everything you came here for. So we'll see you next week, same time, same place at Living Room Wisdom. Bye.